Guys, today we will be talking about HTML basics. As you can see on the screen, there is something called as anatomy of an HTML element. So we have something called as content. So your content is basically whatever text or image is there on your website. Now we have something called as my cat is very grumpy. So this is your content. Now this content is enclosed within opening tags and closing tags, which actually forms the entire element. So this is a paragraph element. Next, moving on, we have something called as attribute, which we include within a paragraph element or any other element that we will be discussing. So you can see within a paragraph element, we have something called as attribute. So the attribute has one, the attribute type, and the other is the attribute name. So this is how we write an attribute. So in this case, we have an attribute type called class and the attribute name editor dash node, which is enclosed within quotation marks. Next, moving on, we have something called as nesting elements. So nesting elements are basically your element tags in, which are nested or which are included in your main tag. So here you can see there's a paragraph tag. The paragraph tag starts with the content my cat is, and after that we have something called as strong. So this tag is your nested element. We have the opening tag, we include the word, and then there is a closing tag. And once we have closed this nested element, we close the main element, which is the paragraph tag. Next, moving to the empty elements. As you can see here, there is something called as image, which has a source attribute and an alt attribute. You can notice that there is no closing tag for this element. Hence, it is called as empty element. Next, we move on to the anatomy of an HTML document. So this HTML document is something of a code that we will write in our text editors or code editors. So the first line is your doc type HTML. This is going to link our code to the HTML, which is defining the code doc type to be HTML. Next, we have the opening HTML tag. And at the very bottom, we can see there's a closing HTML tag. Next, there is a head tag. The head tag has two tags within them. One is your meta tag and another is your title tag. Next, we have a body tag, a opening body and a closing body tag. And within the body tag is where our entire elements will go. Here you can see there is an element with source attribute and an alt attribute, as we saw in the previous nesting elements and empty elements. Next, moving on, we are going to have something called headings in our HTML. So we have H1, H2, H3 and H4. Similarly, we have H5 and H6. So these are your headings in the HTML. Next, as you have already seen, there is a paragraph. So we have this paragraph tag. Next, we have something called as lists. So your list is basically, there are two types. One is your unordered list, which is represented using UL, and the other is your OL, which is your ordered list, which is represented using OL in the list type. So this is the code format that we use for unordered list, and this is the code format that we use for ordered list. Next, we have something called as links. So your links is basically uh, an A tag with href. So your href can be your any link to your website. So this is your https www.google.com. So this is your anchor tag. So this anchor tag is represented with A and it has an attribute href with attribute name. The attribute name can be linked to any of your favorite website. So this is called the anchor text. We include something here. So let's say this is a link. When we click on this link, we will be redirected to the google.com. So that is all for now.